It was a controversial one. Why did she want to divorce him over the phone? What was she thinking? Just the way she was just processing and making moves. When she goes in and later on she decides to go to Argon.
Argon must be discussed.
He's at fault, because then I'm also like, I'm not the type of person who would be sacrificial or unselfish in the sense that, okay, I've wronged someone in my family line, in my bloodline wronged you, so I'm going to remove myself from the situation and our love can't continue. Like, that for me, like, it blew my mind. I was just like, there's no ways. And obviously I would even call it a trope.
They have a name for it. Noble idiocy.
Oh!
Okay, so this is Kota2Kimchi, episode 1 of 2025, and... And we are back, and we are 2 instead of 1. Yay! So how are the Maldives?
Oh, lovely. That's not the accent they use there. I just went
We
there.
don't know. I think Maldives is actually a Muslim country. Huh? It is. So I have no idea what... Anyways, it must be some French, Indian...
Not what I just did.
Arab hybrid.
Yeah, no,
but,
probably definitely not what I just did.
And it was really not the Maldives, but it was a well-deserved break.
Yes.
Kota2Kimchi, it's really nice to have you back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I'm really excited. I'm actually really excited.
So, today, we are discussing the one that finished at the 10 of the year, called When the Phone Rings. 12 episodes, which completed their run on the 4th of Jan. And boy, that when I tell you about the plot twist in the first episode. First of all, I'd seen it being advertised on Netflix, but I was like, okay, I see you. I see you, Yu Yeon Sok, that is our main male lead.
Yeah.
I've seen you in Hospital Playlist. I have seen you in Warm and Cozy. I have seen you in other things, and I liked you, but I saw When the Phone Rings, but romantic thriller, you to miss me with that, and I have no idea what actually changed my mind. I think it was after episode 1, I heard some murmurings, and I'm like, okay, well, let me watch this episode 1, there's nothing else to watch. I watched that first episode. And I was like, I called my sister, I'm like, game over. I'm in. I am in. Seriously. After the first episode, I'm like, sis, I am in.
Yeah, I was anyways gonna watch it because When the Phone Rings, like the title captured me already. I was like, oh, When the Phone Rings? Okay, but I was never gonna watch it at the 2 episodes a week. Like pace.
I respect that.
That is not my life. I unsubscribe from that. Like I will wait until. So I actually started it. I think they were releasing episodes Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
I started on the Friday before the last episode.
Oh, so the third basically.
Yeah. So I started on the 3rd because I was like, okay, then I don't have a long time to wait. Like, because cliffhangers are the worst. Cliffhangers can literally go jump.
I loved all of the cliffhangers.
No. But it was very nice because also what I do, like we've discussed this before, like I'll try and see ahead to see where the storyline is going. It was really, really satisfying and gratifying to get to, I think it was episode 13, somewhere there, where I was like, yeah, I can see where this is going. And then I sent you a message.
No, that was probably earlier. Remember, it ended at 12.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So it was 10. Yeah, it was 10.
10-ish,
It was
okay.
10, yeah, it was 10. And I was like, I can see where this is going. So I sent Google a message and I'm like, I can see where this is going.
And of course, as usual, I was just like, you gotta watch.
She's just like, she actually you did reply, like, because also I was watching, like,
I don't.
binging it.
I'm like, yeah.
So
you know
she left me to my devices and then it happened and I was like, I knew it. I was in infuriated.
So many plot twists. It
But-
was really, well, hey. Actually, I was gonna say it was well written, but we actually have to discuss that. We have to discuss that. So it is based on a webtoon called "The Number You Have Dialed." Is not available. Well, just "The Number You Have Dialed" is the webtoon upon which it was based.
Okay.
And some of our fellow K-drama watchers on the internets compared the source material to how it was portrayed. And they saw huge gaps. And I think that may have explained some of our frustrations, especially with how it ended. Because in the source material, they of course went into greater detail. But here, our producers and writers and directors were limited to 12 episodes. So some of the pacing things, I think, was because of that webtoon to celluloid adaptation.
Okay, I'll give them that one. Okay. Episode 1 kicks off with our male lead,
Baek Saun.
Baek Saun. He is walking into an embassy. Yes, the English embassy, the British embassy. And because he is the presidential spokesperson. So
A very handsome presidential spokesperson.
handsome.
Youngest in Korean history.
Everybody and their mama cat, dog cat go crazy over him. Like he's a celebrity. You know, it's like I didn't even realize that a spokesperson could be that famous. But
Only
anyways.
in Korea. And probably South Africa, because I feel like we know our politicians here, unfortunately, well.
Yeah, well,
None of them
Baek
is
Saun.
easy on the eyes. Baek Saun. Anyway, carry on.
Baek Saun. Baek Saun is walking into the embassy. He's looking
Very
sharp,
dapper.
dapper, dashing.
Shiny shoes. Can I tell you
Shiny
about his shiny
suit,
Christian
tuxedo,
Louboutins?
Tux
Ray-Buttons.
with the
Cummerbund, yeah. Hair slicked
the
back.
nine.
He's got the Secretary Kim hairstyle.
Oh, the Yoongjun hairstyle, and even as he's walking in, like he's turning heads, so there's that anticipation. Oh, like the ladies are turning, even the men are like, wow. Walks in, gets inside, he stands for a minute or so, even like maybe it was less than a minute. He looks at his watch, and I guess it was a bodyguard or security person from the security detail comes and says, okay, no, apologies for that, we are running late. She's on her way. And then in walks Hong Hee-ji. Hee-ju. Wow. In walks in Hong Hee-ju.
The names have started kawataring us. Anyway,
Rough times here.
Yes.
So, and in walks in Hong Hee-ju. She is also looking really nice and put together. Stands next to him, and then they walk up the stairs together. We then break from there because then they go into detail of what's happening at the embassy a little bit later on. But then now they switch now to them back at their house afterwards. And we actually then get to see that they are married. There's a complicated situation around their nuptials, but basically in the house they don't talk to each other. Oh wait, they don't talk also because she's deaf.
No, she's mute.
Mute. Sorry. Yes, she's mute.
So she developed mutism
Yes.
in her childhood.
Yeah. She's mute, so they find a way to communicate with each other with her writing notes. So he'll speak, and then she'll reply by writing notes or messages on her phone. But so this is now one of the other things in their relationship. She works at a news station at that point, and she interprets. She's a sign language interpreter. Again, like we said, he's the presidential spokesperson. So similar-ish types of things, because then like if something's going on, and one of the scenes in episode 1 is him speaking to the press about a hostage situation, and we can see he's a professional. Everyone is like hanging on his every word, and he's very decisive, and he's like, he's the boss man, and he's like, you don't mess with me, you don't mess with the company, our country, because then he ends up saying, he goes into his speech and then he says, we will not negotiate with terrorists, and then the cameras go it's a craziness. So she works then at the news station. He's at the president's presidential house,
like the Blue House.
Because I wanted to say Blue House, but then I wasn't sure if it was the Blue House.
The Blue House, the Korean equivalent of the White House.
Yeah.
With offices elsewhere as well as a presidential spokesperson. That doesn't really matter.
But anyway, so things are obviously happening in the news station. There's the news anchor who's also obsessed with Baek Seon, and they now just reported him, showed him on the news about talking about the hostage situation. She turns around and then the recording of the news is done, and she's just like, oh, isn't he just the best? So he's got a fangirl in the news anchor herself,
because he used to work as a news anchor. So his background is journalism, and he was a war correspondent, and he used to work at he was her sonbae. Same station, and so she still has a crush on Baek Seon because he fine like that. He is known to be married, but it's all very secretive about who his wife is, and we the viewer are the first ones to find out that his wife is actually Hong Hee-ju, who he just took as a coincidentally his sign language interpreter when he goes to the embassy, because I think the ambassador's wife also had hearing disability, and so he brought Hong Hee-ju as the interpreter so that the wife wouldn't be left out of the conversation between these two dignitaries. Then also important, as he's busy talking about we don't negotiate with terrorists, we get flashbacks of this man has, he was a war correspondent, also did training with the FBI as a hostage negotiator. So he's got those credentials, which is why he manages the PR nightmare behind these hostage situations involving Korean nationals. He handles them so coldly and in a certain almost unemotional way, is because that's part of his training as a hostage negotiator.
Yeah. Fast forward a little bit. It's now time for Hong Hee-ju to go home. She leaves the station and she gets into her car, right? She gets into her car. It's raining. She drives out of the station. It's raining. And her radio starts malfunctioning. Changing stations by itself. Did the movement or the acceleration also get affected? I think it was, right?
Yes.
Somehow
sudden acceleration and then it suddenly braked in the middle of nowhere.
So she's basically losing control of the car, but it's not because of her doing it. It's literally, you can tell that someone is controlling the car. Someone else that is not in the car is controlling the car. Eventually, she almost gets into an accident with a truck. Hey guys, these trucks.
These white trucks of doom make their appearance again.
Anyways, almost gets into an accident with a truck and manages to escape or, get away unscathed. And then she stops the car. And then she's like panicking and she's like trying to catch her breath, like, what in the world? I nearly died. All while this is happening, she's mute, so she's not saying anything. Like, it's all happening. You can just tell that she's panicked. She manages to stop, and then as she looks up across the road in that direction, I guess, I can't remember now, but there's a man standing there, black clothes, and then with a cap and a mask covering his face.
AKA assassin's gear.
AKA assassin's gear, and he's standing there watching her, and I guess the conclusion is that he's the one who's messing with me. He starts making his way towards the car. She now's trying to lock the car, but she has no control over it. She can't lock it. He gets there, opens the back door, the one behind her, and gets in, and then points a knife at her and says, drive. As they're driving, he pulls out a phone, and flip phone, and he calls Baek Seon. and it gets through to Beksaun, and it had 406, ne?
406. Remember
yes,
those
the
numbers.
Remember the number, yeah. The number is like,
it's a full number.
Code. It's a full number, but then specifically there's a 406 in it. And basically, Beksaun is in the office. He's talking to his team about something. He sees the phone ringing. He lets it ring for a while. Eventually decides to picks it up, and the kidnapper basically says, "I've got your wife, and I'm going to kill her." And Beksaun is like, huh? You've got the wrong person, bruv. Beksaun dropped the call and called Hong Hee-ju's mum to find out.
Right, yes.
Where is she? Because then I think the mom, had called him earlier on about them having dinner or something like that. So now when the kidnapper says, "No, I've got your wife and I'm going to kill her," he's like, "Yeah, right." Drops the phone, calls the mom. Mom is like, "Yeah, she's at home. She's at home. She's good. We just had dinner." And she also has her own ulterior motives.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So he's just like, okay, so right then, moving on to the next thing. So then the kidnapper calls back again, numbers 406. The numbers always has a 406 on it, and voice modulator, and he's just like, "Can't believe you dropped the call on me. I can't believe that I'm telling you I've got your wife and I'm going to kill her if you don't do anything if you don't what did he actually want?"
He has a vendetta. Basically, the summary is he has a vendetta against Beksaun.
Yes.
And he wants to make Beksaun's life as miserable as possible, starting with those nearest and dearest to him. Mm-hmm. So part of that is Beksaun has been at pains to keep the identity of his wife secret. And in front of her at that embassy gathering, he'd even said to her, he'd said to the ambassador, "No, you don't know much about my wife because she's my weakness." And then,
if anyone wants to get to me,
of course, Hong Hee-ju was like,
"Yeah,
like I'm your weakness. Am I your little secret kind of thing?" So already that was strike one in Hong Hee-ju's mind. Yeah. The kidnapper, we later find out, no, he wants Beksaun, and he wants Beksaun's for reasons, and he wants to get to Beksaun's people for reasons,
so that Beksaun suffers.
So that was his. I don't even think there was any.
I think maybe he said a ransom or something.
Was there a ransom?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I also can't remember.
There was a lot that happened after this.
Yeah, but also, so the whole thing is that he says, "I'm gonna kill her." Beksaun is like, "Go ahead, kill her. Call me when there's a body."
And then you can tell me where it is.
And tell me where it is.
So all of this was on speakerphone.
Yes. So now Hong Hee-ju is hearing all of this. Because the phone is like, the kidnapper's like here on her shoulder with the knife, and the phone is also here. So she can hear all of this. So obviously now, with their strained relationship already, and hearing him say, "Call me when there's a body," she's just
not knowing that he's tried to confirm where she actually is, and maybe this person is just a prank caller. Yeah. And no, actually, Hong Hee-ju's safe wherever she is. This person is trying to mess with me. Yeah. He doesn't actually have. Mind you, the mama was lying through her teeth.
Which is why
the veneered teeth.
Ulterior motives.
Exactly. So, and then, of course, now the phone drops and it doesn't get answered again.
She sped up after that. She actually got upset.
And then remember, he lost his mind as well because now he started stabbing the back of the
headrest.
The headrest.
Yo. And it wasn't a small knife.
It was a long one.
It was like, if you want, I guess maybe he just didn't want to do it like in that way. But if he wanted to, he could have gotten through that headrest and stabbed her head. But anyway, so then she's upset and she's still driving around because then he keeps telling her to drive. He's just like, just keep driving. So she's driving, she's accelerating. Eventually, she's just like, you know what? Fine, okay. If you want a body, I'm gonna give you a body. If you want a body, I'm gonna give you a body.
Tree.
And she starts driving fast. She intentionally drove towards the tree, or did she lose control of the car?
I think she intentionally. I can't remember. And also, we don't see the moment of impact.
Yes, yeah. We don't.
All we see is her now getting back into their apartment.
Yeah.
In a weird, like, cutaway scene.
Yeah. And so there's that. So she was kidnapped. Beksaun thought that she was at home. kidnapper is using this phone that has a modulator on it. In that whole spitty-pitty, situation,
I think she lost control of the car.
The phone dropped and they hit whatever it was they hit, and she managed to get out. The guy also got
Injured, knocked out.
He got knocked out. And she manages to escape, to get out of the car, and he was left in it. Because we also don't see this. Really. Like, there's little
exactly. We see that there's the accident. There was loss of control. There's the accident. He dropped the phone. Then he disappeared. He was knocked unconscious, but then he somehow disappeared as well.
And then the car is at home.
Yes, and she's now walking into her apartment, but she has retrieved... No, never mind. Let me keep quiet because that was actually at the end of episode 1.
So, then Bexon gets home eventually, right? And he didn't try to call a third time before they crashed. It was 2 calls.
And then he sees her and he's like, okay, no, everything is fine.
Yeah.
And then he goes into his own bedroom.
Oh, and he also strangled her.
Yeah.
As well. Because then later on, that was one of when the next day, is that episode 2? The next day
he saw...
He pieces more of the story together, and then he realizes, oh wait, something actually did happen.
But the thing that got me was that third phone call from 406. When did that happen? The next night?
With the kidnapper? That was the next night.
That was but still episode 1. So he starts to piece together that something did probably happen. And then the following evening, 10 o'clock on the dot, he gets another phone call from 406. And the voice says, "You thought I was kidding. Go check with your wife. See the bruise where I strangled her. Check in her car.
Go check
the knife cuts.
She had an accident.
I know where your wife is. I know where she is now. You wouldn't pay, or you wouldn't do what I wanted you to do yesterday. So here's what you're going to do now. You're going to pay her 2 billion?
2 billion.
2 billion won. And you're going to grant her a divorce. Or else consequences.
Yeah.
At this point, it don't matter. Because... Bazalwane, at the end of episode 1, cut away. Who is talking on the phone? Our mute girl, Hong Hee-ju. And that is the moment I was like, I am in. This girl is not mute. She can talk very well.
She was in a bathroom somewhere. It was their bathroom, right?
I think they were out somewhere. I feel like they were out somewhere.
But she's in a bathroom somewhere.
Yeah.
And she's looking at herself in the mirror while she's talking to him on the phone. I was just like, what?
I'm like, she has
scandal.
Like, wait. But no, for sure we saw that it was a dude at first. And it was a dude.
It was.
But she got a hold of that phone. Yes. And then she was like, I'm going to blackmail this husband of mine.
I'm going to get myself out.
While everyone thinks I'm mute, I'm going to be calling him until he decides he's going to divorce me. Because what? I am tired of this. Flashback to their wedding.
They've been married for 3 years.
For 3 years. In those 3 years, nothing. Now we know a little bit more about their marriage. We know that it was one of these Chebol arranged marriages, apparently. So Hong Hee-ju.
Both of them are from Chebol.
Yeah, both of them are from Chebol families. Hong Hee-ju, though, was a stepchild of the Hong media Chebol family. Baek Sa-on was supposed to marry the eldest daughter of that family.
Hong
In-na. But something happened the night before. Hong In-na disappeared. Then her parents, especially her mom, said, okay, fine, you're going to step in because we really need this alliance between the Baek family and the Hong family. For reasons. Reasons are explained later, but for reasons. Then they send her as a replacement bride. She's mute. She's been mute since childhood, but and her older sister was injured and lost her hearing around the same time. Mystery. Anyways, she goes in. She is kind of the big sis. Just she has one facial expression throughout the entire that drama. Like anyways.
But anyway, I also didn't. That was also one of my things with Hong Hee-ju. I'm just like, nah, girl.
So she tried to have like the stereotypical, okay, I'm now a wife, so let me make dinner. I'm now a wife.
But
let
even
me try
before
and
we get
dance
to being
with
a
him.
wife, she just let people tell her go marry that dude in jail.
No, but reasons.
Okay, then there were reasons.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, there were reasons.
And so, like, we find out how the marriage started. So she would make, a gesture or a bid for connection, as
Breakfast,
the Gottman
first
Institute would
breakfast.
say.
They got married. Let's say today's Monday. They got married on Monday. Tuesday, Beksaon wakes up, gets ready to go to work. She's got breakfast laid out on the table.
I only drink coffee.
Don't bother.
Leaves. Then she tries to, it's their wedding night. I don't know, supposed to, get closer. So should we dance to music? He's like, don't get it twisted.
Do not.
This is not going to be one of those marriages. Don't try and get close to me. Don't do any of this. So we all think with Hong Hee-joo that this guy is a cold piece. He is a
He's
cold
like,
piece.
you're gonna sleep here. I'm in the room across the hall that side. Essentially, we can live together. We don't even have to cross paths. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first couple of episodes. But now we find out Uguti. Now the phone calls are coming from Hong Hee-joo, but Beksaon does not know. He still thinks his wife is mute, but now he's starting to panic because he's like, wait, no, this person actually did find out, number one, who my wife is, and got to her and threatened her.
And on top of that, they know other information about me
and this marriage
and our family and this marriage and the family that no one else
is supposed
outside
to
of
know.
the family
is supposed to know. Exactly. So how does this person know these things? So now he starts suspecting things. And around the same time, an old friend of Hong Hee-joo's pops up. He is a YouTuber, doctor, psychiatrist. Thank you. I was trying to figure out what specialty. Psychiatrist. Oh,
Ji Sang-woo.
Psychiatrist. His backstory is that he had grown up in an orphanage, and Hong Hee-joo used to volunteer at that orphanage when she was younger. So those two became friends back then.
And then they went to the same college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since then, he's become a psychiatrist. He's gotten a YouTube channel, but his kind of topics are true crime and unsolved crimes.
And also the fitness one, because remember the...
Oh, did he have the fitness one?
Yeah, because remember, what was the guy's name? No, the Beksaon's trusted...
Park Do-jae.
Yes, remember when he was telling him, because then Beksaon told Park Do-jae to go research him, and then he came back and was like, he's got a YouTube channel, there's, the true crimes, but then there's also the fitness one. It's like, he likes to work on the, he was like, he works on the deltoids. On the deltoids. And Beksaon just looked at him like...
And I'm sure he looked at a mirror of himself later. But anyways, he was not deficient in that department. Episode 12 confirmed. Anyways, I'm gonna hold myself. So that's why. And also remember Park Do-jae. That was Beksaon's trusted right-hand man.
Kind of like his administrator, who then became trusted with these calls. As the calls came in, then Beksaon would delegate to him to find out, to trace the calls. Yeah. Then Park Do-jae put together a team so that, and all the equipment and to the point where the guy who's running the office now, who's right under Beksaon.
Anyway, he's president of the Vincenzo fan club is how I know him.
Yes. Kang Yung-woo.
Yeah, Kang Yung-woo.
Yeah, Kang Yung-woo.
Yeah, Kang Yung-woo.
Yeah, Kang Yung-woo.
Yeah. So, he gets jealous because now this other guy is like really, really tight with Beksaon, like really right-hand
passing
person.
each other notes.
Secret notes, but it's because he doesn't want any of this leaking to the media or anything, especially about the fact that his wife is actually Hong Hee-joo.
Yeah.
So, where were we now? Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, guys. So we're introducing the characters. We've already got the one who's the anchor who's got a crush on Beksaon. Then Dr. Sang-woo.
Ji Sang-woo.
Ji Sang-woo.
And then the Kang Young-woo, and then now we've talked about Park Do-jae. We've talked about the mom. We've talked about
Hong Hee-chu's mom and Hong Ina, and the father doesn't really feature, but he does later. And then we've on Baek Sa-on's side, his family has political leanings. So the late grandfather's main
aspirations
ambition, was to have one of his offspring, or himself preferably, but one of his offspring or progenitors or whatever.
President.
Not progenitors.
Yeah.
That's a bad word. Anyways, it's a wrong word.
Yeah.
Is it? Anyway, never mind. Cut this.
Predecessors?
Successors. Offspring.
There we are.
Abazukulu become the president of South Korea. So now the hopes are pinned on Baek Sa-on's
father.
Spoilers, daddy, because that also comes into question later. And then there's the mom. Twisted. Then there's the mom there also, who's a cold piece as well.
Hey, she's a professor.
Of what again? Of Inkani. Of Kohlakele. That's what she's a professor of.
I don't remember what she was a professor of, but I remember he went to her to try and find out how to deal with this certain situation because of her expertise. Hey, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because, whew. So, back to Sang-woo. We're jumping around a bit, but it's important to introduce Sang-woo now. Remember, Sang-woo grew up in an orphanage. He comes to the
news station.
They want to put together a program to reveal how there were disappearances from the orphanage where he grew up.
Well, that wasn't the main intention. They wanted to put together the true crime, whatever you call it, show. And then when they're discussing topics around the table, like that whole team, they ask him, do you have a particular topic that you are, your burning topic that you want us to address or you want us to look into? And he's like, actually, I do. And then he goes into the whole story.
And it wasn't really an actually. I think all of his entire YouTube career had this mystery basically driving him so that he could get to that, because those were some of his friends who went missing. And no one, because there were children who didn't have parents and no one was looking out for them and looking for them, they got forgotten. But him and his friends and whoever never forgot them. Then he would remember, okay, no, but there was also a set of twins. One of the twins disappeared. I don't know what happened to the other. They were all kids at the time, and then they grew out of the system, and then they all went their separate ways. So now he's coming back in order to just to solve that mystery. What happened to them?
So another thing, just to add there, Ji Sang-woo is working with Nayuri, the fan, who's the newscaster now, in this whole show. So she's part of that team. So then they also start investigating. Like, as the show progresses, they've got their own investigation going on the side about this whole orphanage situation, about the true, with the true crime intention or theme.
So then what happens in the meantime as well is that Hong Hee-chu gets a phone call on that cell phone.
And
it is the dude, unmodulated voice and everything, all the little vocal tics. He calls the number and he's like, you got my phone.
Bring me my phone.
Bring me my phone.
Oh wait, you've also got you actually need it for something as well.
Wait, what you doing?
So actually,
are you trying to blackmail Baek Sa-on as well? Girl, let's work together. But now you can hold on to that phone, but now you have to do everything that I tell you to do. And if you don't, I will reveal all of your secrets to Baek Sa-on, and then what's gonna happen to you? What's gonna happen to you, sis?
What you gonna do?
So in other words, you're gonna do what I say. And so now she's back to being scared. Angiti, she was now emboldened by the fact that she's anonymous. She can modulate her voice. He doesn't know that she can even speak to modulate her voice. And now she can say, I want out of this marriage, but in a roundabout way. And also then start torturing him like, do you know your wife has got a mole on her leg?
this is the part I was going to get to, because now what's happening is that Hongiju has obviously seen an opportunity. She's grabbed it with both hands and she's trying to get out of this marriage. Very questionable means of trying to do it, but anyways, we'll come back to that. She's trying to get out of this marriage, but then now what's happening is that I don't think she banked for how clever clever Baek Sawon was, because then now in him trying to draw out the conversation so that they can trace it, because then they needed 10 minutes,
yeah.
At least 10 minutes to able to trace the call. He's now trying to draw out the conversation, and he's asking her questions, and
406. He just calls her 406. He calls the person 406.
So he's asking 406 questions to try and elongate the conversation, and she keeps getting tripped up. Because then, I don't know, she'll say something and then he'll have a rebuttal and he says something else and she's like, wait, what? No, what I actually meant was
master negotiator.
You know, so they're having a back and forth. But the thing is that she's religious. Every single day at 10 o'clock, she's calling him. Doesn't matter where she is. The one time she was at she called him from the British embassy as well.
It wasn't that same night. It wasn't the
something else.
First
What
night,
was
but it was some other. I feel like it was a family thing.
Oh, it had something to do with Baek Sawon's father's presidential run, because the father's campaign.
Everyone had to pitch up.
The family had to pull
all
through.
Fancy and everything. Like her mom threatened her to, you have to be there, kind of thing. And then that's when she called from the bathroom.
Yes, yeah. So she's calling him from the bathroom. If she's at home,
she was on the rooftop then. She went to the rooftop.
There was another bathroom one.
Hey.
But so if she's at home, he caught her the one time. He came home early. So also now, because now he's aware of how there's just shady things going on around my house. I guess he was coming home early-ish. And then he came in as she was taking out the trash with the phone.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Your memory is really much better than mine. So guys, I finished this like a month and a half ago.
There were two instances where she was at home. The second one is when she was taking out the trash after she decided, now, okay, I'm not going to take any more of these threats from the real kidnapper. And she decides to throw the phone away. So she takes it, she wraps it, chucks it in the bin. She's about to take it out. Baek Sawon comes in and he's like, where are you going? She's like, no, I'm going to throw the trash out. And he's like, no, I'll get it.
She's saying... Got note.
Oh yes. On the phone. I'm going to take the trash out, and the first time was the ice cream and beer. Second time was the trash. So he's like, no, I'll take the trash out for you. She's like, no, I'll take it. So they have a little bit of a scuffle where he's pulling the trash and she's holding on. I don't remember what happened to distract them, but then eventually they let go, and then she went back into the room and she put the phone back. The ice cream and beer one was the first night. He said, no, I'll go for you. So her intention, so she heard him come in and she's like, oh no, it's almost 10. Gets up, puts on her jersey. She's about to leave. Where are you going? I'm going to get ice cream and beer. He's like, no, I'll go for you. She's like, no, it's fine. I'll go for myself. Because her intention is to be away from him so that she can make the call.
And threaten him.
And
for the divorce.
To divorce him. Like, why haven't you divorced her? Like, you know, but then they just ended up having conversation. I think the first few calls were about the divorce. Later on, it turned to something else. Yeah. So then eventually says, no, I'll go get the beer and the ice cream. She's like, okay, fine. Then she sits down on the couch. He leaves to go get the beer and the ice cream. And then she calls him from the couch as he's going to get her ice cream.
Anyways, in all of this, I think what she hadn't banked on was that he actually does want to be in this marriage. That is what she never banked on. She'd been feeling very neglected. She'd been feeling forgotten, cold, lonely. And she's like, well, if I'm going to be in silence in a house with this dude, I might as well be in silence away from this dude.
By myself.
Because and he also doesn't care about my life, because now he just wants the body.
He said, bring me the body.
Just bring me the body. And so when he kind of pushes back against 406, that's when she gets flustered. That's when she gets upset. But like, why aren't you just letting her go? Yeah. And then she starts goading him like, oh, look what I have. A photo of your wife's leg with a mole.
Takes a photo with the phone.
It's her own body.
she's wearing, her mom had come to visit her with the bag of lingerie, and she's like, okay, it's
because
time that you guys have kids.
you must secure the dynasty.
Here's something that will help you guys.
Yeah, to liven things up. And then she
puts it on.
And then of course it is like, well, you've been married for 3 years and you don't know that your wife has a mole on the leg.
Correct.
And so that, along with, I don't know, his office getting blown up that same night.
That was also, there's something, yay.
His office getting blown up the same night. He comes home like soot covered and everything, like having looked at death in the eyes. And all he wants to know is, does my wife actually have a mole on the leg? But of course they cut away from it's all very, is he gonna find out that she has a mole on her leg? And he's now thinking that it's someone who knows her well. So is it Sang-woo? Is Sang-woo the guy who keeps on threatening me because maybe he wants to slide in there?
Yeah, so because then remember they went to college together. So Sang-woo sees her at the broadcasting station,
and then they're very friendly, and she's smiling.
Her bodyguards, because she's got bodyguards now, her bodyguards are, because he's keeping track, Baek Sa-on is keeping track of Hong Ye-ju through the bodyguards. So every time they make a move, they message him, and then she goes missing. She goes into the bathroom, and then there's footsteps coming down the passage, and then she's kind of like, we all kind of like, what footsteps? What does this mean? Turns out to be Sang-woo, and they end up chatting in the garden. And the bodyguards who were freaking out because she disappeared from the bathroom where they thought she went in were messaging Baek Sa-on, telling him that, okay, no, we lost her, we're trying to find her. Eventually they message her, no, we found her, she's talking to someone, they look really friendly. He's like, who is it? They're like, I don't know. They like, and then he's like, no, send me a photo. And then they take a photo of them and they send it to him. And then they also add, ooh, he's very, very,
handsome with well-developed deltoids,
broad shoulders, quite tall, or something like that. So he gets annoyed on the other side. But then that's when now Woo Sang-woo and Hong Ye-ju reunite after having lost touch after college, only to later find out that they'd actually really gotten close in college. So Woo Sang-woo, because Baek Sa-on has kept her a secret in terms of her
that she's
his
married.
Wife or being married. Sang-woo didn't even know that Hee-ji was married. Hee-ju was married, and later on it came as a shock, because then now Baek Sa-on is also, his feelings are also, not that they're developing, they've been there.
We find out later.
He's more out, expressive about them. He's more protective. He literally wants to take care of her, type of thing. And so now he's noticing that she's getting close to this dude that just came out of nowhere. Is this dude responsible for what's been going on? Because then all of these things are happening around the time that he now came into the picture. And like, what is the deal? So there's also that tension, that back and forth.
But there's a lot. There's a lot.
So, like, we actually kind of jumping around all over the place. So this is kind of spread out.
I think we need to then like focus in on the significant developments that we find out. So it becomes apparent through little flashbacks that Baek Sa-on wasn't born into the Baek family. The mom keeps on making these comments that kind of allude to the fact that Baek Sa-on has someone else's identity. Like, oh no, my son wouldn't wear that, or my son wouldn't eat that.
It's like a flashback into a dinner that they were having with the Hong family
when they were younger, like he was around 15 or so. So all of these things start. So what does that have to do with Sang-woo's case of the disappearances at the orphanage? Have to do with the kidnapper with the two different colored eyes? Have to do with Hong Ye-ju? And how did Hong Ye-ju become mute? How did that happen? Because we know for a fact that it's selective. It's a selective mutism. How did that come about? And slowly, things just get revealed. The fact that Sang-woo then tells more of a story of how him and some of his other friends, the ones who disappeared, they used to go to the specific house close to the orphanage to play with the kid around their age. But then he saw that kid do something that scared him so much, Sangu, that he ran away and he never went back to that house. We never see the kid's face. The kid's face always had a mask, one of these paper masks. We know that there was a huge mural and all we can see is a man's hands, or a huge picture, sorry, a man's hand and a signet ring. And there was a secret door to a secret room around that big picture. Who is this man?
Who is this man? Who is the child?
Where does Beksaon actually come from?
And also then Beksaon's mother. Why is Beksaon's mother so why do we see her? Because then it also kind of unravels there.
Yeah.
Why do we see her always at that door? Because then the child who's in the room behind this door, he's locked in and he keeps banging on the door. Let me out, let me out. Oma, let me out. Oma, let me out. And she will keep on saying, I'm doing this to protect you. Something along those lines. I'm doing this to protect you. No, you have to stay in. I'm doing this to protect you. But then she's crying. She's breaking down. She's crying. So there's also that,
and she has a visceral hatred for her former father-in-law, who's since passed, but a visceral, like she will see a picture of him and spit wine at it, even at that glitzy
in public,
even at that glitzy do
in public
for the presidential campaign. Like she has a deep-seated hatred for the man. Spoiler section. This was messed up. What had happened in that family is that there was Bek Harabuji, the late, great. There's his son. And the son had a wife. There was a kid.
Parents, yeah.
They had a kid. That kid had something wrong with him. That kid had tendencies which were frightening. Basically, that kid killed some of the kids from the orphanage. He started with, of course, and in studies of psychopathy, that kind of psychopathy is revealed by, killing small animals first, starting fires, just this general malicious intent to take lives. And it usually starts with small animals. And then he progressed to the orphanage kids. Those are the ones who disappeared. The family covered that up. So they would take the bodies, take it down to the lake. There was a gentleman who lived by the lake. He would then get paid by the Beck family to dispose of the bodies. But there were a few. There were a few bodies that this young boy, he was a boy, had ended. And the family was. So the mask thing was that they were ashamed of this defect in their grandchild,
along with the situation with the eyes, because then I know they said he had an operation.
Not him. So we're talking about the grandson now.
Yes, it's the real grandson.
The grandson didn't have an operation.
The two.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay,
I'll get to that. So the mask was also to keep his face away from the public, so that none of the kids would be able to recognize if they survived. Because that was a house of death. If they survived, they wouldn't be able to recognize this kid. It was a way of them protecting. But then the grandfather eventually, again, he was evil, eventually got so tired of cleaning up the mess that he's like, you know what? I'm going to take this one. Then he took him out boating.
Because also remember his aspirations. He wanted to be president.
And he couldn't have any defective individuals.
No. In the line.
Yeah. He took the kid out.
Bloodline.
Drowned the kid. Murdered the kid. And then somehow the dweller by the lake man.
Let's call him the lake man.
The lake man was given this body in a bag by the grandfather to, like all the other bodies, dispose of this body. Unbeknownst to the uncle or the grandfather, Lake Man had been taking the bodies and putting them and burying them, giving them a proper burial. So he still had a heart, but he was kind of indentured, like his livelihood kind of came from the Beck family. Then Bek Harabuji said, listen, goes back to Lake Man. Who was living with Lake Man? Some nameless 15-year-old boy. He hadn't given the boy a name. He says, why do you think I've given you this boy to raise and I haven't given him a name? Okay, I've gotten rid of one grandson. I'm going to replace him with another one. So then he brought that young unnamed boy into his house.
Didn't have a name, guys.
Yeah,
didn't have a name.
Brought him, and then he said, okay, now this is now Bek Saon. And he could do that sort of because previous Bek Saon...
No one knew what
had a
real Bek
mask.
Saon
Had a
looked
mask.
like, yeah.
So, but turns out original Bek Saon survived. Original Bek Saon survived. And that is why he has a problem.
And original Bek Saon is the kidnapper.
And that's why he is going after Bek Saon, because eventually he regains his memory. He had lots of hypoxic brain damage.
After the grandfather died, when he saw
when he saw that the grandfather died, then suddenly things started coming back. He was grown by then. He was like in his 30s. And I think the events of this thing are like a year after he's died.
Yeah.
So then he remembers, wait, that's my real grandfather.
And then all the memories start.
And then all the memories come back, and then he's like, wait. That means that there's someone who's living with my name and living my life, and that's when he starts targeting Bek Saon.
So all of that had been a year in the making.
Yeah, he'd gone and grown up elsewhere.
Yeah,
he's got different colored eyes. His father, it is later revealed, also came into the grandfather, the chairman's house. It's always a chairman. Into the chairman's house with different colored eyes. He was the one who had the operation.
So that, for me, there were two things that I just could not connect. It was the different colored eyes and who had the operation and the kids. Like, what happened to the kids? Who was killing the kids? Who had killed the kids? Like, in my mind, it was the grandfather.
Was the kidnapper.
Oh.
The kidnapper had killed the kids. The grandfather killed the kidnapper, Bek Saon, the real Bek Saon. Grandfather had also, so it turns out, again, more spoilers, guys, is that the Bek Saon, the person that we know as Bek Saon, our Bek Saon's father, we know now they're not related. So the
presidential candidate, yes.
One of the big secrets that would destroy our Bek Saon's life is there was a paternity result floating around, which showed that Bek Saon and his supposed father were not related. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that means that it would now be revealed that Bek Saon was actually adopted. But the double twist is that even his father was not related to the chairman. So his father wasn't related to the chairman. So the father was not even the chairman's son. He wasn't the chairman's son. So that is why he is the father of Bek Saon, the kidnapper. He is the father. Those two are related, definitely. But Bek Harabuji is not the father of Bek.
So he was also adopted in, or he was
also brought in. But Bek Harabuji is the father of our Bek Saon. So the bloodline is there.
He Jews.
So that means he has been treated as a second-class citizen because he was only brought in at the age of 15 into this household as a replacement Bek Saon. But the real Bek Saon kidnapper and his Bek daddy were not actually of the bloodline of Bek Harabuji, the man with the cash, the big kahuna. So that was the big, that was like the triple twist by episode 10, 11.
Yeah, and then also we find out around that time as well that is what made Hong Ina, Hong Iju's older sister, decide that she's not going to marry Bek Saon because she's just like, I'm interested in being a chaebol for all of my life. I don't need any drama in my life, and that's gonna cause drama. Tapped out
to
the left.
But then later she's like, wait, who actually sent me that paper?
Who sent me that? So like she got an envelope delivered to her and she made that decision. She's like, I'm not doing this. And then she called Bek Saon and she said, do you know what I have in my hands? And then I'm not gonna marry you. Bek Saon asks Hong Ina about.
He's like, okay, so I want Hong Hee.
Is she gonna be marrying that other?
There's another chaebol family arranged marriage that they want to organize.
And then Hong Ina says, that's what her mom wants to do. Like that's the best. Because who else is going to take her considering that she can't
speak? She's defective like that.
Who else is going to take her? So he's like, okay.
He's like, give me that one.
I'll let you off the hook.
Actually, disappear, go, leave the country tonight. It's fine. But I want that one.
Hong Hee-joo must take your place.
Yes. Which then makes no sense when she tried to make overtures of just connection with him. Now after they married, I remember what he did on her wedding day, and he's like, "No, take all of that off. Like, this isn't a real marriage."
He was just like unnecessary.
And I'm like, and you're telling me all this time you were just being tsundere, you were just being like cold, but actually warm on the inside. I'm like, no, we're not doing that since 2025.
She's in the wedding dress. She didn't even want to be in the wedding dress.
With the veil,
she's sitting there as they do with the flowers. He walks in.
She wants to take pictures with him. He's like, no, this isn't a real wedding.
Actually, you know what? Take the clothes off.
So just a replacement.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, okay, fine. Yeah, she gets up and she starts undressing. He's like, wait, are you gonna undress now? She's like.
And then he kind of puts his tuxedo jacket over her, and then she's like mad, but can't say anything. She's mad. It was a lot.
So then another main thing is Hong Hee-joo not being able to speak. That came about because they got into an accident, and in the car was the 3 Hong kids. The 3 Hong kids were in the car.
The 2 real Hong kids, and then Hong Hee-joo, who was adopted as a stepchild into the family.
In that her mom came into the marriage with Hong Hee-joo. The Hong dad had Hong Ina, and then with the union they had a 3rd child. So the 3 children were in the car in the back. I don't know if
was that baby boy also.
Yeah, it was their son.
Of them together?
Now I'm wondering.
I can't remember.
Because I don't remember the mom ever.
No. So I think that was.
So he had 2 kids.
He had 2 kids. That was the fact. Was the boy passed away. In the accident.
Hong Ina
lost her hearing. Hong Hee-joo was fine.
Yeah, she was just scratched up, but she was okay.
Truck. Enter weird mom.
Truck.
Enter Kota2Kimchi mom. Comes into the hotel room and she's like she's threatening her child, her own daughter.
Hospital, right?
Yeah, into the hospital. Yeah. And she's like, the Hong children, the one is dead. The one
is injured.
You are fine. You cannot be the only one who's fine. Don't ever speak again.
I am not going to lose my life of comfort.
Because you are fine. What are they going to say about me?
What are they going to think?
Why are you the non-blood Hong child okay when the other children, one is gone and the other one...
Never speak again.
Never speak again.
She, Hong Hee-joo asked, for how long? She's just like, what did she say? Until there's something specific she said. And I was just like, wow, woman. But Hong Hee-joo's mom was after the lifestyle of being married into luxury, and it had always been her mission. Even later on, as things start unfolding, she's motivated by that. Anything to make sure that we keep our lifestyle. Anything to make sure that even now, like when she brings the lingerie set to Hong Hee-joo, it's because, okay, y'all been married for a while. Like, you need to secure yourself. Like, you need to lock this in. Like, give this man a child.
This mom was just not... It's not going to win Mother of the Year. Like, between the 2 moms, none of them... I wonder who's going to win... Neither of them, actually. Neither of them was going to win Mom of the Year. Did she have a redemptive arc? A tiny...
A small one.
A tiny
But that's
redemptive.
also because of just, I guess...
Hong Hee-joo just put down her...
Yeah, she found happiness eventually, and she's just like, it's not worth it.
She put her foot down as well. She's like, you know what? No.
Oh, yes. And then
and by the way, I can speak.
Yes.
And by the way, you told me not to speak again. I can speak.
I'm speaking now.
Anyways, so then there is, I feel like I would just want to keep this undercover, that the kidnapper was working with someone else.
Yeah, let's do that, because that one is also that one kind of ties. No, we haven't. Yeah. Because then it is the golden thread between all of these 3 stories. Because then there's Sang-woo, there's Baek Sa-won and Hong Hee-joo, there is the Baek family and the Hong family and their situation, because they also had a whole situation going on there. An agreement with Hong Hee-joo's father, stepfather, was pointing a gun at
Hong Harabuji, Baek Harabuji.
Yes.
The grandfather.
Chairperson in the rain. So they had some agreement going on there. So there's like 3 different like trails.
And then somewhere in the mix is someone who is also
came out of left as well.
Yeah, is also.
But he's also so involved. Like it kind of ties the whole thing together. Not necessarily ties it in, but it kind of yes, that thing.
Yo, so favorite moments for me were at some point Hong Hee-joo had become this moment. I think it was like episode 6. When was it? When she fell down the mountain?
Yes, 6, 7.
Yes,
after rescue 7.
6 and 7.
Yeah.
So Hong Hee-joo had become her dream job had always been to
interpret for
the presidential spokesperson.
Yeah.
And she had been watching him so closely that she could actually predict what he was going to say. So of course she waxed the initial stages of the interview process.
Because a position opens up, so they decide to have interpreters to kind of like, diversify their team.
But in the final stage, he comes in himself. And he's like, okay, you have to like interpret live. Why do you want this position? He's really tough on her. Everyone's looking at him like, guy, yo, this is...
Because also they don't know that they married.
Yes,
no one knows
grilling her
married.
like this? Like, you kind of have a vendetta against her. But anyways, then one of the tests was she had to interpret what he was saying live. And so she does flawlessly, gets the job, joins the team. And...
time for the team retreat.
And then the team... was it the retreat yet? No, it wasn't the retreat yet. He orchestrated the retreat later. Initially, it was a hiking thing.
No, it was the retreat. Yeah, because it was the presidential office. And then, so they started off with the games when they got there from the bus.
So
and
he, at some point,
afterwards-
by that point, he had figured out that she has the phone. But initially, then he thinks, wait, is she actually in cahoots with the kidnapper?
Yeah.
Then he figures out, no, she isn't. And
because of some other things, that there's some inconsistencies that are not adding up.
Yes.
So he's kind of like, she's involved somehow, but she's not in cahoots with the guy who blew up the office.
Yeah. So then he starts actually looking forward to 406's calls, because now he knows who he's talking to. And now he wants to rile her up because he's actually enjoying this side of her where she's very outspoken and he hasn't heard her voice.
Feisty!
And now she's feisty, she's outspoken, she is...
Like, what?
And he's like, so what are you wearing? that one phone call. And she's like, this guy, he's married and he wants to... He knows he's talking to his wife.
Why are you asking me what I'm wearing?
Like, are you married? Are you a man or a woman? 406. And he's like, okay, so like, yeah. But he knows that it's his wife, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to let her know that I know. And now I'm not really suspecting her of being in cahoots with the kidnapper anymore. He's like, 406, why don't we work together?
Let's catch this guy.
Is the kidnapper... look, I don't know how you got the phone, but there's someone else who's after me, and I think you might have intel on him. What does he look like? Like, let's work together. Let's work together on this.
So now the retreat.
So now the retreat, and he actually plans the retreat so that, it's just team building.
Against the team's wishes, because they were just like, no, let's not do a retreat this year. Let's go to
team building.
It's too much work.
But now he's on a mission.
An opportunity to get
close. He's on a mission to woo his wife. And he even talks to Kang Teri, and he's like, wait, you're married, so you and your wife, like, do you do that thing with little heart hands?
How do you
do that? Like,
how do you
tell me? And he's like, what?
Because he overheard a call that Kang Teri was having with his wife,
and they were all cutesy,
all cute, and
he's like, how do you show affection to your wife? So now no one else in the bus, I thought they were going to make a bigger issue of this. No one else in the bus knows, but he's like, he has bento boxes, like lunch boxes. They all have like these cute little heart things, but he's giving it to everyone in the office because he loves everyone in the office. And thank you for being a great team. But actually, it's all
everyone is getting this lunch box with
because he actually wants to give it to Hong Hee-joo,
and everyone is just like, yeah.
Then he wants to be on her team when they're doing team. like cupcakes set in the heart form. Like, it was just so cute. And then he orchestrates that he's in a team with her, and he's
just next to her in the bus.
Yeah.
So there's one of the new interpreters as well who I think had eyes on Hong Hee-joo.
Yeah.
And then Hong Hee-joo sat down. The other interpreter sat down. Baek Saun comes up into the bus.
Yeah.
Sees the dude sitting next to her.
Yeah.
And he says, no, I actually get, motion sickness, so I have to sit at the front. So there's a whole 4 seats open in front of them. He's like, no, you can sit there. He's like, no. He takes his bag, puts it on in those seats.
Anyways,
I have to sit here. So
he's very cute. Getting, and then they hike up a mountain, but she meets an accident. It wasn't an accident. She was pushed. Spoiler. Like, I can't say it in many more ways. We don't know who pushed her.
Yes.
And he can't get a hold of Hong Hee-joo, and he's searching frantically. He cannot make a phone call to 406.
Yes. So that was the other thing with the phone. Flip phone.
He only receives calls. He can't make phone calls to it.
It can only call
scrambled.
It can only call Baek Saun. Can't call. No 911, no nothing. Only one, and then it can receive calls.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then he's searching that entire afternoon. 10 o'clock comes. She makes the phone.
It wasn't even 10.
Wasn't it?
No,
okay.
She
her phone had died.
She had fallen. Yeah,
her phone had died.
She came to. She checked her phone. It was dead. Because it was broken.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like in her processing of what happened, she's like, oh wait, the other phone. She reaches for her bag and she's like, oh no. If I do this though, I'm going to actually be revealing. So she doesn't know that he knows that she is 406.
And she doesn't want to use that 406 number because she knows that he's now going to know. Yeah. But she eventually makes a phone call because like ribs are cracked. She's getting cold.
She's on the mountainside there, on the cliff edge.
Yeah.
Like right against so it was
So then she calls and says, you said I should call you when there's a body to discover.
Here's a book.
You can find her, da-da-da-da-da. And so he then keeps her on the phone, of course, and he's like, okay, tell her I packed an extra rain jacket.
He nearly made a mistake there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Tell her I packed her. If you're close to her, let her know I'm coming. Tell her that in the meantime I packed a raincoat in her bag. Tell her I packed an extra bottle of water in her bag.
And the fire.
Tell her I packed a flare.
There we are.
In her, and if can she find that flare? Can you just ask her if she can find the flare?
To just let me know where she is because I'm coming.
And then of course she finds the flare and then she sets it off and then the end of that episode I was like, this is the man who was under all those layers of toughness and whatnot and I love this. So that was one of my favorite
I was low-key
scenes.
rolling my eyes, not gonna lie.
I was just I felt it. No, you see, you were rolling your eyes because you did not do the thing of watching it 2 episodes a week. Because I tell you, when it left us with the cliffhanger on the Saturday, right, you can know I was waiting for Friday. I'm like, he needs to find her. And then, of course, he still pretends after she's rescued that...
he knows
nothing out of the ordinary. He knows nothing. And then she's worried, like, wait, when is he going to...
What is he thinking?
When is he going to reveal that he knows who I am? Anyway, long story short, they start talking to each other face to face. They start building a good connection.
Through the use of the phone, though, as well, because eventually... in that hospital trip, when she was now maybe a few days after the mountain pushery... she decides she gets a fright because kidnapper dude there says, okay, I'm coming from my phone while she's in the hospital. So she panics because now she's realizing that, hey, there's actually real danger here.
Kidnapper is not backing down.
It's
I thought was a game to get me a divorce.
Is becoming serious. And also, I don't want a divorce, which is why this kidnapper guy is on my case now, because then I've broken our agreement. I don't want a divorce from him, so I can't fulfill the agreement we had. So now he's coming after me, and he's on his way to the hospital. He tells her, I'm coming to get the phone there by the hospital because I know you're in the hospital. She panics, gets up from her bed, pulls the drip that she had in her arm out, runs to the door as Baek Saun is coming on the other side, because now they're close and, they're getting to know each other. He's coming in from wherever he was, and she holds the door. She tries to push
keep it closed, yeah.
keep it close, keep him from coming in, because she doesn't know that it's Beksaon coming in. She thinks it's the kidnapper. So there she is panicking. Eventually he does break the lock that she had secured, comes in, sees her on the floor, and it's a whole nother thing. And even then, that's why I'm like, nah, Beksaon, I understand the appeal, but for me I was just like, but you know the truth. And I understand why. No, I don't.
I think he
understand.
didn't want to scare her away. That he knows.
It was just like there was just too many.
Hey, but we're running out of time.
Yes.
So, we do need to get to
the
basically all of that stuff comes out and everything. There's a confrontation eventually with the kidnapper. The secrets come out. And one of the things that Beksaon had asked Hong Hee-Chu is, if I am not Beksaon, would you still love me? Would you still, if all of this disappeared, all of the trappings of being the son of this particular president and the grandson of this particular chairman, if I don't have that identity, would you still love me? By that time, she's like, bruh, I'm locked in.
They've worked out most of their kinks and issues.
I'm locked in. She got kidnapped
again
by the
guy
kidnapper.
that we were not gonna reveal.
Again.
It wasn't the kidnapper this time.
Oh, it wasn't the kidnapper. You're right.
It was after they first.
It was the kidnapper. The kidnapper's accomplice.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotten kidnapped, and Beksaon found her that time.
Yes, using the tracker that he had on her phone.
Yeah. Then that person gets taken into custody, but they still need to find out who the actual kidnapper is, because he's still making threats and everything. There's still a clear and unseen danger. Dude, kidnapper, Mr. Eyes, does come back after this was a Hong family memorial somewhere in the mountains. And he then
has help this time
from another quarter. Calls Beksaon and says, well, I got your wife again. Because
and
that time,
this is it.
This time, this is it. And then she's like, this time I'm going to protect you. Hong Hee-Chu says.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hong Hee-Chu says, this time I'm going to Beksaon, like, I love you. This time I'm going to protect you.
Yeah.
Steps on the accelerator. End of the episode is car over a cliff. Next episode, search party cannot be found.
They're finding a shoe. They find the cell
phone,
random
downstream.
things that had floated downstream because they need over the cliff into a river.
Yeah,
like a body of water. I don't know if it's a river or what, but yeah.
And Hong Hee-Chu is locked up again. Yo, guys, she was locked up a lot. Anyway, locked up in a dungeon, basically. Anyway, she gets rescued.
Because now the thing is like the revelation. So this is like episodes 10, 11, 12. All of this is unfolding. Yeah, 10 and 11. Yeah, 10 and 11. All of this is unfolding. There's other parties who are involved, and they are adding all of their 5 rands and their 10 rands worth.
Like they're just many people
everyone
who had nefarious
got
intentions.
Got a stake in this whole situation, basically. And we're finding out all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's leaving, like there's just a lot to take in. Long and the short of it, wait, where do we want to go? Do we want to go to the end where they're driving out after Hee-Chu's been rescued? Or
yeah, they're driving out after Hee-Chu's been rescued. And also, that rescue scene was like the most frustrating thing to watch.
Drive over the man!
Not just drive! They are still talking. She runs out of the woods. He stops his car. They still look at each other.
Meanwhile, Mr. Eyes is there in the woods
with the rifle, fully loaded rifle. He's also escaped. He was also locked up in a dungeon.
Yes,
and he's now escaped. And he's after Hong Hee-Chu. He's after his own name. And they still want to look and gaze into each other's eyes and instead of just saying, he's in the woods, he's got a gun, they're still, Kanchana, are you hurt? Da, 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 da. I'm like, if y'all don't get your behinds into that vehicle and drive. And then there are the police, of course, who come there. And then
police were also just useless as well.
Inexplicably,
how long did it take them to get
into his car, and then they drive. The police are supposed to be following straight afterwards. No, it was not straight afterwards. They took a hot 10 minutes to drive behind them. In the meantime, dude is standing right there in the road with a shotgun.
With a rifle, ready to shoot into
the car. So is he going to make the bullet count and shoot Hong Hee-joo because that's going to inflict the most pain on Baek Sa-on? Or is he going to shoot Baek Sa-on? Baek Sa-on stops the car, he comes out. They have a conversation.
First, before we even get to the come out, I say, why did he not rev that car and say, if you don't move out of the way,
because reasons.
Drive over you.
Because reasons. Anyways, kidnapper whispers something to Baek Sa-on. Suddenly we see Baek Sa-on crushed.
His face
weeping.
Fell, he started crying. He looks back at Hong Hee-joo.
And then the next thing we know,
we hear a bullet go off. Well, we hear a gun go off.
Gun goes off, black screen. All we hear is that Baek Sa-on has disappeared. What? Oh, he's gone. He's gone, and Hong Hee-joo is busy planning Christmas, and there's no Baek Sa-on. And like, okay, so who died? A shotgun went off. What happened? Who died? What? And here is where noble idiocy comes in. Dude has just disappeared. He survived.
This is the part that I said I preempted, because then what happens is that now with the revelation of everything that's gone on, how chairperson Harabuji was involved, father, mother, uncle, aunt, sister, brother, all of that is coming into light, orphanage, Mr. Eyes, all of this has come, like all of the truth has now come to light. He feels responsible. Now this is Baek Sa-on, like the stand-in Baek Sa-on. He feels responsible.
Baek Sa-on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He feels responsible for all of the trouble that Hong Hee-joo and her family went through. The fact that her little brother died in that car accident had something to do with his lineage, his father.
Yeah, his side of the family.
What does he do? He decides that he's going to remove himself from the relationship. He's going to disappear.
I've hurt you so much, I'm going to disappear.
Yeah, I can't,
we're like,
I don't deserve you type of vibes.
This goes to some country called Argon.
That was actually funny. But he's also still he's still orchestrating a lot of things around Hong Hee-joo. While he's disappeared, there's the mysterious donation
in her name.
There's other things. He's busy dissolving trusts and inheritances that he got because of his father, his real father, and so he's still busy working and doing things there in the background. Hong Hee-joo, meanwhile, is losing her mind
because she can't find him.
She doesn't know where he is. He just disappeared. One moment he was there when she was in the hospital. Next moment she's waking up, he's gone. Mm-hmm. No one knows where he went. And then eventually she gets a clue about him being in Oregon because of the donation he made.
Yes, and then she got a phone call from a number 604. But the person she answered the phone, the person didn't say anything, dropped the phone. She Googles Mavers or whatever they do in the K-dramas. The 604 area code, which is a flip of the 406. We caught you there. And it's from a place called Argon. She decides, I'm gonna go to Argon. She goes to Argon.
She speaks to the reporter friend, the journalist friend.
Yeah.
Who we thought was an enemy at the beginning. It turns out that they're actually really close. But anyways. The dots, gets onto a flight, lands in Argon. It's a military zone.
Yeah, it's
stuff is going on.
Civil war is happening.
Something's going on there.
She asks someone at that school, I think she went to the school, where's the place I can find the prettiest sunsets? Because Baek Sa-on was apparently obsessed with sunsets. Brother father, yes, says it is a church, but it's in the middle of the war zone. What does a girl do? She puts on ifaduk. Literally walks into the war zone. At this point,
wanders to go find the sunset.
I and the big sis I think we were watching this episode together. She was but apart, but together. And we're like, she's walking in the jungle.
With the fatuk
On
her head.
There are rebels everywhere.
And she was warned that you can't
Is she
go to that
bulletproof?
area.
Is that fatuk? Idogo? Is it?
Well, there she was. She gets
It was
caught.
apparently bulletproof. No, by that time I was like, no, it's good. I'm glad you got caught. Because why?
The rebels.
Stupid actions get stupid prizes.
Blindfolded, tied up, loaded with a whole bunch of other ladies.
Suddenly,
in the back of a truck.
Driving through the jungle, and then suddenly the entire truck comes to a screeching halt.
Blockade of sorts or whatever it was that stopped the truck.
And then suddenly there's someone jumping into the
guns
back.
going off and yells because the men at the front are like this, and then someone is
Jumps into the back and then is freeing all of the prisoners of war. And then he sees Hong Hee-ju because it's who?
Guess
Bexa.
who it is. Guess who it is.
The only thing that was nice about that is that he was finally in black, a short sleeve, and we're just like, okay, this look suits you too. But other than that, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, I was just like, I was over it. At that point, I was just like, oh, bugger.
I was like, this is nice. And I think I had commented somewhere on one of these internets at around episode 9. I'm like, y'all, this writing is so good. Like, this has been consistently a thrilling ride, episode by episode. They have to work hard to mess up this ending. And then I was watching episode 12. I'm like, yep.
They did it.
They worked overtime.
They did it.
They messed up the ending.
They succeeded with flying colors.
They succeeded. And then there was some...
distinction pass.
And then in the last 5 minutes, I like... they had to do the cutesy ending. Which I actually want us to be divorced from the cutesy ending. Like, there was like all the friends got together and had lunch together somewheres. And I'm like, do we need that? I feel like we don't need that. I feel like we can leave a cliffhanger because this was the kind of series that needed a kind of like end with a bang. Don't round it off. End with a bang.
They rounded it off.
They tried to round it off, but they did it in you know what,
5 minute space.
Greatest respect to writers because it takes a lot. Creative work is hard.
Yeah.
Creative work is hard, and I know those actors are really good actors, and they did their thing. But someone made a decision in the last 5 minutes of this drama.
Guys, we've come back from Oregon.
And then there's a random news bulletin, guys. And you're like, wait. Won't say what it is because it had a lot of people up in arms. It really had a lot of people up in arms. In fact, it's the reason why it's gotten such terrible ratings on Google and everything is because they alluded to a real world situation, but in a very messy way.
And then proceeded afterwards within 30 seconds, not even like 10 seconds later. Now everybody's lovey-dovey sitting around the table.
They did not need that scene. That single scene ruined everything. It really ruined the legacy of all the hard work.
It was after that because then he left. Yeah, it was after.
And then he was, coming back from, and then he was calling her. It's like, 406. So what you doing tonight?
Who was 406 and
yes, and that was cute. That was cute in the end. But there was this 5 minute news bulletin that they could have just done with. That scene was absolutely unnecessary. And that is why when the phone rings has very, very split opinions.
Even me, I'm split from you at this point because for me, the pacing was an issue because I felt like that first episode captured me. Right? And I was like, this is it. And then things started progressing in a, dippy, to the point where I was like, okay, because I love thrillers. So I was like, okay, episode 1, thriller. 2, 3, 4, and then it's only later, 5, 6. So I was like, okay, now we're back to a thriller again. Because it was just things are not connecting. There's a lot of questions everywhere. There's extended parts, scenes that I was like, this is just too much. Did we need this type of vibes? And then later on, then it's kind of okay, now we are there. When the mountain situation, when he started figuring out who it was, the mountain situation and everything that progressed afterwards, I was like, yes, this is it. And then the ending,
it was tight. And then the ending, by the end, I was like, no. Actually, can those rebels can you all circle back and come and get her? Come get her.
Fetch her.
Just fetch her, because what is this nonsense? What is this stupidity? Come get her.
Because I even remember, even with the, what did you call it? The
Noble
idiocy. Oh, that.
We're tired. We are tired of that trope.
Why?
That whole thing of something happens and then in episode 15 they break up for some reason.
Because of noble idiocy.
Because of reasons.
Because, no, you're better off without me. Actually, we just fought for our lives to get to this point, and then
they circle back, like, and this can be a year, 3 years, 5 years later. Then they circle back and suddenly they come back to the same situation.
What was the one with where they met after? If we meet after the second or third time?
Trunk. If we meet by fate after the second or third. No, I was like, that's
We've
stupid.
just fought.
I'm like, that is stupid. You know what?
Together.
Actually, y'all need to stay apart.
We've just gone through hell and high water to make sure that we stay together, and then now you're gonna decide.
I'm gonna start a series of
we should actually do that.
K-dramas. I'm like, actually, they deserved to actually just stay apart.
We should actually do that because there's many of them. We should actually really do that.
I can name 3 off the top of my head.
Can!
Actually, you know what? Y'all have been stupid this entire time. Can you please, can the thing end with y'all being apart?
Y'all faced death. Like,
because
you
y'all
looked it and you smelt its breath. And then at the end of all of that, you've survived, and then you decide, you know what, we're better off apart.
The reasons that we're here.
So that was a big thing for me. Number 2, I didn't understand, and I still don't, like, Hongi Ju's thinking with using the phone. Yes, it became the thing later on. Now it's our thing, we're a couple, this is how we connect, this is how we, unwind and, let go of all of those things in the past. But I was just like, what are you doing, girl? Like, what are you doing? So you're gonna call him every night until he lets you go?
It was her way of connecting with him, I guess.
Just tell him that you're going, man. If you're getting to the point where...
That's why. The antenup, on the day of their wedding day, they had a contract. Yes. Whoever asked for divorce first had to pay the other a penalty of 2 billion. She didn't have that money. It was that she didn't have that money
for divorce, yes. But still, that annoyed me, like, beyond, especially when she keeps getting tripped up by him and him.
So she thought she was gonna play him, and because the only card she had in her arsenal is the fact that he doesn't know that she can speak, and she can. And now she's got this phone with a voice modulator and a person who's previously threatened him
messed up a good plan, man.
So then I can use it and
wasn't even a good
threaten him
messed up the plan.
It was revealed by her walking into the war zone that maybe the frontal lobe was not frontal lobing. I'm sorry, girl. I had to say it.
I can't fault her.
I had to say it.
But a part of me, when I saw that, after that, I was also so mad at myself because I was just like, what do you mean, Luanda? What do you mean? Because a part of me was just like, no, with the way she was losing it, with him being gone, I would have done something drastic as well.
Walking through the banana plantation is not...
I mean, let's not be like that drastic, because that was just on another level. But I was just like, yeah, I probably would have done something drastic, but then not ridiculous drastic, because I mean,
no. But I think what happened there was it was a victim of the pacing, because it was, now she decides she's going to Argan, then we're already in Argan, then she's already asking the priest or the director of
and now we're in the plantation,
and then now
there's.
So I think the thing, they were trying to wrap it up, and so all of the things that she was doing were like one after the other, whereas in the source material, according to those who know, there was space. That whole storyline was allowed to breathe. Like, he was in the war zone for a while, and then she tracked him down. Like, there was a process of her tracking him down, process of her meeting him. It wasn't that within 10 minutes she's decided to go to Argan and now he's rescuing her from the back of that prisoner of war van.
Why did she go to Argan in the first place? Anyway, you know what?
She wanted to find the man. But anyways,
yes.
Yeah. So that was
what else did we miss?
No, we the thought process, why divorce over the phone, the controversial points, the pacing we've addressed, Argan and that whole mess over the last 5 minutes, noble idiocy.
Yeah.
I still think it was a good time. until it was messed up at the end. But as a writer, I can understand how things can get messed up. But it broke me. It broke my heart. Because I tracked for 6 weeks with this thing, and then
this is why we don't do this.
In the last finals. No, you still watched 12 episodes.
Yeah, but then it wasn't broken up.
Yeah, but you still spent 12 hours just like I did.
But I wasn't in agony like you were.
I was in eager anticipation. So at least the mess only happened in the final episode.
Yeah.
So throughout, I was a happy camper. My storytelling itch was soothed. It was brilliant until the last one.
No, I think for me, overall, sure, it kept me wanting to know what's going on, but I couldn't help but find the gaps and the loops. For me, it did give thriller, but I felt like it was more of an illusion because of everything. I mean, they had a lot to tell, so I'll give them that. Like, the story was huge. And it had solid plot lines in it. It's just it was a lot maybe for them. And they emphasized, for me, I felt they emphasized the thrillerness of it versus the drama, because we did spend quite a lot of time in the drama side of things. The thrill of it was more like here on the periphery, like, okay, when is he going to show up? What is he going to do next? Versus what the real story was.
I liked how they actually married the thriller and the romance bit, though. I did not know how it was going to happen, but they managed to do it.
Except when they ruined it with the car scene there after they rescued him.
Anyways.
So there's things like that for me that kind of I'll be like, oh, I appreciate, that's good. And then something happens and I'm just like,
And even the thrill of it, like, you get into it, you're like, ooh, wait, who did what?
Yes.
It was the grandfather all along. Ooh, yeah. The grandfather is not the grandfather, it's actually the family.
Oh, hectic. And then something happens and then you're like,
So anyway, with that, I think we should bring our conversation to a close.
Yes.
And let us know what you thought. If you've watched it, what did you think of it? Did you have anything else to add to our many
Do you agree
many frustrations?
Do you agree with Gugu? Like, what?
I mean,
like,
do we really disagree that
we don't
much?
disagree.
We don't. Yeah.
We don't disagree. It's just I'm not as impressed with the actors themselves. I mean, I also found Hong Hee-ju annoying after a certain amount of time. I was like, I can't.
It was that one facial expression. Don't judge her on just this one. Also, but you know who was brilliant? The kidnapper.
Oh yes,
actor.
I'd even give his mom.
No, that woman still scares me to this day. Him.
She did. She brought it.
He was the result of so many things. But let me not wax lyrical because it's getting quite long.
It is time now.
But as an actor, I don't remember him from any other series. Doesn't mean that he wasn't. Just I don't remember him because he lived in this role so well, and I actually want to see him in something else because I need to know, like, is he this scary?
Brilliant. He was brilliant. I mean, the part where with the chopping of the fish and then delivery, I was like,
yeah, no, he was well acted, and so I enjoyed that. Cinematography was great, as usual. They spent a good chunk of time on making everyone look pretty. It always has that filter of perfection, and it looked really good. And fun fact, Yoo Yeon-suk, he sang the final OST in episode 12. He's a musical actor. Yeah, he's a musical actor. So we saw some of his singing chops in Hospital Playlist.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah,
playlist.
so
I kind of stay away from the medical stuff.
All of those people were singers as well in Hospital Playlist. Most of them actually sing in real life. Even the one who sings badly.
Because it's about the band something.
Yeah, it's about a bunch of friends who were in medical school together and they're in different disciplines, but they all meet up together and still play music together. So, Yoo Yeon-suk, he sang in the OST. If you're looking for something to watch, it's not really, you have to think about it, you have to pay attention, but it was a good watch. I enjoyed it until that last episode.
I mean, because it really had me.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep because I started on the Friday, pushed through early morning Saturday, slept, woke up, carried on, and I was waiting for the last episode because then they only released it late in the evening. So I actually did finish before the last episode came out.
Yeah.
That is When the Phone Rings.
When the Phone Rings on Netflix, 12 episodes. And with that, we shall bid you all adieu.
Annyeong.
Hello. Sorry, I always wanted to do it. Bye.